Hi there and welcome to Sal's Hoop Heads. Great to have your company as always. Big show coming up. Esra McGoldrick joins us from the Mainland Pouākai. What a season she is having. The Tall Blacks are warming up. They are getting prepared for the FIBA World Cup. We'll touch on that and we'll talk a lot of basketball. GJ Gardner-Holmes, Tauihi, Sky Broadband Rapid League. We're halfway through the season. We're more than halfway through. It is starting to get serious.
It is. You can see it, like you've got a couple of wins there from a winless team, and it just made everything that much tighter.
We're about 3.5 weeks from the finals in Porirua coming up, and the tightness is exactly what's coming together. You know, a couple weeks ago, it looked like maybe the Phi and the Pouākai were going to be on the outside looking in or chasing that top three. Well, now it's essentially a top five.
More importantly, this time last week, career best, 10 dimes. 13. Woo. Wow.
She hangs out with 3 new dudes and gets 3 more assists. I think it's our influence.
That's the secret right there, coming on here.
Double, played really well. Team didn't get up, but gee, this young lady here.
Crystal loves talking about
it. Put on a show.
She's going to say,
What's the secret?
Oh, well, you know, just go out there. No, but it was a really good game. I mean, not sure if you guys all watched it, but it was tight the whole way. It was so physical.
There, by the way. We did see each other. You remember that?
Right.
Right, okay.
She was locked in, just
locked in.
Right, I don't see anything except the hoop.
Except who she's passing to. But in all seriousness, the elevation of your game as a distributor, what have you been working on to enable yourself to find a higher level when you're dishing it out?
I think when I went away to the WNBL in between the last Tauihi season and this, was really just the efficiency. I wanted to drop my turnovers down and bring those assists up, and being out there with other really high quality point guards and guards out in Australia, I think has really helped me develop that side of my game.
When you're on the floor, you're looking at an angle, you're like, there was a turnover last year. Is it like that, or you just as intuitive?
A little bit. I'm like, I would get subbed if I threw that, and some of those risky passes have gone out a little bit.
Not all of them, because I saw one back door.
Oh, yeah, Tim Murray.
I was like, ooh, that was ambitious.
Right.
I liked it.
That's a great word.
You know what I noticed calling that game? It looks like the small gaps are becoming bigger gaps. And I think as a point guard, once that happens, the dimes start racking up.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just our team all being on the same page and executing our plays a lot more and knowing where they're going to be.
I think it was the game of the season. I really enjoyed it. It was high level. The Rapid League was high level as well. Lots and lots of points scored. Here's the results from round 5. Pouākai and the Hoiho, we know that the Southerners were missing some key players. What a game, the Phi and the Pouākai. Case, you and I saw that. That was an absolute thriller. Game of the season for me, Queens and the Kahu. They deliver on all expectations again. And the Hoiho go down to the Phi. The Phi very, very impressive on the road for the second week in a row.
They did defensively, they did such a great job. They shot the ball very well, but defensively what they made Ashton Prechtel do defensively, we were talking about it, Sarah Zagara, was hitting the threes, and that just made everything have to gravitate towards her with Prechtel.
Yeah, Prechtel was getting pulled away from the rim a little bit, didn't have a block shot in the game, which was surprising. She came in averaging over 4. So that little change in strategy, I think, really opened up some space for a Phi team that doesn't have a ton of muscle or size down low.
The 3 keys to the Phi in that game against the Hoiho, Cowling, Zagara and Wilson, the 3 imports, they all came to play and they delivered.
Yeah, they did. And I think they're really starting to hit their stride. I mean, they've got a couple wins under their belt now and they're really starting to find their momentum.
Let's go back to the Pouākai and the Hoiho game. It was one-sided, especially after half-time, Miles. 2 big outs for the Hoiho, and it was telling.
Flush the dunny and move on with that one. But what they ran into with the Phi, the Hoiho, not great, because they didn't have an answer for that defence, defending that 3-point line. For the Pouākai, really nice to see them get a win. And that's what probably gave them confidence to get that win over the Phi.
Esra McGoldrick, who we'll have on later, game of the season, she played really well. But I think more key for them is Kennedy Leonard back at full strength. We see that she had 14 assists in that game. And when you don't have a cog like that that's playing at their full potential, it really does affect things. Not to mention, their coach is just back now too. So a bit of turbulence. Hopefully they're settled now.
Let's go to the Fire and the Pouākai. Case, you and I saw this game, and it was an absolute ripper.
Man, back and forth the whole way. Watching it the entire time, I was really impressed by the way the Phi kept working their way back in. Every time the Pouākai seemed like they would go away. I wanted to see more pressure from the Phi. I wanted to see what they did against the Queens.
Changed it up,
before.
didn't they?
They did. They rescinded that pressure a little bit. I think they're at their best. And then at the end of it, Michaela Callan, as good as she was just that far over that three-point line.
How disappointing, because it was a huge finish to that game. Sky City player timeouts were used. It all came down to the last play. And then when you slow it down, you freeze frame it. I mean, we are talking a millimetre on the line, and that was the difference between going to overtime and, of course, the win.
Yeah, man, what a heartbreak moment. And they hit that shot. They were all so excited. I'm sure they felt like they, won the game and then, tied the game.
Yep.
And then, just had to relook at it, and, I'm sure they wish that.
Great job by the officials, though.
Great job by the officials.
Right on it.
The same thing.
Was right next to it. Saw the call. Instantly called it a 2. There was no fight about it. So sometimes that's the way it happens. Game of millimeters.
The Hawke's Bay Hawks are watching that as well. Shout out to the Hawke's Bay Hawks.
Queens and
it's funny because it's true.
Kahu. Build is a big game. Always is between yourselves and the Queens. And this game was just outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it started in the Rapid League game. That was super tough, and then translated right over to the main game.
By the way, 78 points scored in that Rapid League game. I mean, it was elite level stuff.
I mean, not defensively.
Really, really good to see. I mean, that was up and down. But, yeah, take us through this main game.
A key player for me from my team was Tori, who came out, and I think that's the best game she's had all season, and she was big for us, especially as we're missing Panina.
Probably the best game of her career. It's only 18.
Really impressive. Yep. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the core strength yet to really battle down low with Dotson, but the way she was affecting the game and hitting those shots late with the pressure on the line, I mean, that is a lot for a teenager, and she hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play yet at that level.
I loved her run rim to rim as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think her length actually really kind of disrupted Dotson a little bit around the rim. So, yeah, she's definitely one that stood out to me for our game.
Are you in her ear in the game? And you tell her, are you going good? You're going good? You don't say a thing. You know she's going good.
A little bit of both. I don't want to get her head too big, and wanted to stay focused. And, but she was definitely big for us. And there were a lot of moments, I gave her the look like, you got this, and take that shot when you're open. Very
quickly, Chrislyn Carr, 32 in this game. I mean, she was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was tough. That was my matchup.
Come on, Justin.
What a setup. She
did all right. Tough. All right, let's move on. Next game.
But that's in the last 6 games, that's 5 times over 20. This one, of course, at 32. I mean, she is a scoring machine.
Yep. And her one without, I think she was 19.
The one thing for that Queen squad, I would like to see them play a little less one-on-one basketball.
Yep.
A lot of it is isolation, and at some point, you're going to see those defenses like the Phi did a week ago really load up and take away that initial option.
Quick look at the ladder, and it is tightening up. There's no doubt about that. It is really congested now, and every game is just so important from here.
So the Phi, by virtue of having more wins, get the advantage over the Pouākai, which makes it just so incredibly tight. I mean, that will come down to the last round, surely.
It looks that way at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think this round is going to be massive, and hopefully Kahu can open it up a little bit, but
And we've got a couple teams moving up, but we've also got the Hoiho, who are averaging the least amount of points in the league, still aren't very successful on the Rapid League side with just that one win in there, and had probably their 2 least impressive performances of the season back-to-back there. So some areas of concern for them right now.
Well, speaking of the Rapid League, Sky Broadband Rapid League, Rapid Rap. Try and say that quickly 3 times. See how you go. Let's check it out.
The Pouākai took down the Hoiho in the first game of the weekend. Contributions from Millie Knight, Sebastian Nisbet and Jasmine Dickey getting the home side over the line. Carlos Hokianga continued her run of form with 17 against the Pouākai on Friday night. However, it wasn't quite enough as Jasmine Dickey led the Mainlanders to their 6th Rapid League win. 19 from Amari Thomas wasn't quite enough to get the Kahu over the line in Porirua. Paris Lokotui and Latava Kenny combining for 19 to give the Queens a 42-36 victory. And Sunday's clash saw the Fly take the win in a close 27-24 victory over the Hoiho. Jade Kirisome with 14 points and the Fly returning home from Queenstown with the full 4 points.
Lots happening in the Sky Broadband Rapid League. Time now to catch up with our guest this week. We head down to Christchurch, the mainland Pouākai. What a season she is having. Would you please welcome Esra McGoldrick. Congratulations on the season thus far. It really feels like, Esra, the team is starting to warm up the longer the season goes on. And as we head towards the business end, I've got a feeling the Pouākai are going to be right in the mix.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm just excited to see the season out, and yeah, it's just all coming together. I mean, we've had a few latecomers, but it's definitely looking like we're coming and gelling together, so it's really nice.
What were those losses at the start of the season like as a unit? Be a little bit of noise on the outside, but how are you guys dealing with it internally?
Yeah, I think, well, we always just talk to each other after games, and just coming together was really our key thing, staying positive throughout it, and just knowing that we're dealing with injuries at the time. Kennedy, one of our imports, kind of our main PG, rolling an ankle was, it was tough, but just coming together as a team, knowing that it's only the start, and we're gonna eventually come together all through this towards the end. So yeah.
Well, that's the team, but your own form has been just on a meteoric rise this season. You came off of averages just under 8 points and 4 rebounds per game this year. You're up double, 14 points per game, over 10 rebounds per game, and almost 2 blocks per game as well. What have you done in the offseason to get your game to that level, to make that jump, and what were you working on specifically to get to this level?
Yeah, it's just been great being here in Christchurch. Again, I've been kind of in different spots. Tauranga last year, which was great. But I think being home, just being amongst, other good athletes, and having great resources at the tip of my fingers have just helped me to really get in the gym more. Just working on my craft really, which is eventually paid off. Yeah. Showing. So, yeah.
What I wanted to know was, you were out for a little bit with injury. How did you stay locked in with your team, and just on the sidelines, how did you go supporting your team and just getting back ready to play again?
Yeah, so it was sad because they were traveling those 2 games, so there's not really any home games. So I wasn't able to be there physically, but just being able to message my team and talking to teammates and letting them know to do what they do and to just get after it, was one of what I wanted to do while I was out. And the support from my teammates to really rest up was really nice, and was just able to come back really smoothly back into the team.
It must be nice beating a team by 41, but with all due respect to the Hoiho, who were missing a couple of key players, but it's a nice win to get the first one under your belt. What about the 1 point when you head over the Phi? How much confidence did that give you guys? Because that's, I want to say it's harder or tougher, but that shows that the winning mentality is starting to develop.
Yeah, for sure. That game was very tough, close to the very end. But we knew just not so much, because we're kind of that fourth quarter team where we I feel like it's a bit of we just need to keep going for 4 quarters. And I think that game we definitely pulled it out. We pulled it off. But yeah, it did come down to the last shot, which I thought was a 3 at the end, but luckily it was a deep.
Yeah, you guys will take that. That's luck. You take that.
You got to trim those toenails. Got to trim those toenails. Or
Yeah.
get flash shorter shoes. That's how it's happened sometimes. But coming into the season off a great Tall Ferns experience, going to the Asia Cup with the squad, having that ability to perform well in that tournament. How much of that fed through into this season for yourself, coming into what has been a really successful season personally?
Yeah, just coming into that squad, having Guy Malloy, giving me awesome feedback just on that tour and throughout the tour, just helped my confidence a lot more too. And being a part of a team and just being in that environment on a whole was really amazing. So just great experience. And I was just able to go into this season a lot more confident, and I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
And then lastly, for any young girls out there watching you and following your journey, do you have any advice you'd like to give to them?
Oh, yes, I guess just, keep working hard, keep being in that environment where you're supported, you're respected, and just keep working on your craft. I mean, and there's so many pathways too, for women's basketball now. And I just encourage every girl to explore those pathways. If Aussie doesn't suit you, then America might suit you. There's so many options out there now, and it's amazing. And I just encourage every basketball girl out there to look at those pathways, and it's never ending now, which is awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Ezra. 3 rounds left. Good luck.
Absolutely. Great advice. Fantastic. And as Mull said, best of luck for the rest of the season. It comes and goes so very, very quickly, but the Pouākai are hitting their stride. Appreciate your time, Ezra. Best of luck this round.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, what a player on the rise, and not too much being said publicly just yet. But I've got a feeling there's some big news on Esra McGoldrick just around the corner.
Sprinkle it.
He's done it again. What is it that you guys know? Did they tell you? Because they never tell me anything.
Watch this space.
Oh, yeah, I'm still watching the space.
Good. Okay, so it's just these two.
I don't know anything. I just enjoy winding you up.
I'll tell you what I do know. The Tall Blacks are gearing up for the FIBA World Cup. They've been involved in some preparation games, some big games as well. The results are mixed.
Yeah, but you guys can speak to this, building up towards a World Champs tournament and an Asia Cup. Is it about the results, or is it about what you're putting together? I'll start with you, Crystal, about what you're putting together before you hit those do-or-die games and pool games.
Yeah, I think these practice games are just that. They're, really trying to find their chemistry, work on different combinations, and kind of work out those crinkles before they get to, the main games that count.
And it's interesting because you have to play at your best each time. The Tall Blacks in this build-up only have 7 games to prepare for a team that overall hasn't spent a ton of time together. Yeah. And it is difficult when you go to these other countries playing against top-flight talent. I mean, going against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and that Canadian team, who looks like a medal favorite. They're looking like one of the top 3 teams in the world. A really impressive job by the Canadians in that team to pull away. And this squad for the Tall Blacks, I think, is searching for who's going to be the leaders of the group. It's great signs, I think, in that China game that Shea Ely's back into the mix. It was great to get Isaac Fotu back playing. He missed the first couple of games in Japan. So I think they are building up to it, and I would never judge what they're going to do in the Worlds based on the results leading into it, because it is a process, and it's all about the process.
Mulls, no Websters, we know that. Are you worried about the ball handling at the moment? Fair few turnovers.
Yeah, those turnovers against Canada is problematic for obvious reasons, but maybe that's something that can be fixed. Like, that is something that's a part of the game that you can look after the ball, as you guys know. It makes it a little bit easier because they're clear adjustments. But if they don't have that quality point guard, Shay's working his way. He's been off basketball for a very long time. Like, I don't blame him for having to find his feet at the international level again.
And it's not that Flynn Cameron or Isaiah Morioho-Oholiafa aren't quality point guards. It's the experience that they don't yet have at this level. And to try and learn how to play at the international level of basketball, how much quicker things are, how many fewer mistakes you are able to make, because if you make a mistake at that level, it absolutely gets pounced on instantly.
That Canadian team is so dangerous as well. Like, they are loaded.
They're elite.
They're a medal chance. Like, they'll give everybody fits.
Crystal, from your experience, the level of a prep game, and then you go right up to the international it's on, what's the difference in gameplay? Is it close? Are the prep games close, or is there still another leap?
A little bit of both. I mean, as I said, the prep games are practice games, but that at the international level, every possession matters, every little detail matters. So it definitely is another jump where you just have to be on your game.
Looking ahead, Jordan, USA, Greece. We've spoken about it before on the show. We're getting a little bit closer. What are your thoughts?
3-0 in our pool. Jordan, easy. USA, don't rate them. Greece, no. Under the compo, no worries.
I'm with Bulls. We'll go that. Look, it's going to be a challenge. You absolutely have to beat Jordan. If you don't win that, you have no choice. Greece without Giannis is still a tough opponent. They're going to be difficult to play. They've got a lot of size, and traditionally the Greeks have executed as well as anyone, especially in the half court.
Yeah.
And then you got the U.S. team.
I got a question for both of you. When you look at the pool that you're in for a World Champs, Asia Cup, whatever, do you know, like the must-win game like Jordan, is it better to have it first or is it better to have it last, or doesn't it matter? I'll start with you, Crystal.
I'd prefer to have it first, come out and shock them. They can't scout you as much. You can throw out all you've got and you should be fresh to go. So I'd say first.
I want them last because I'll tell you what, I played a U.S. team once and the game after that was like playing JV players. Because that game against the States, they're a different level of speed, a different level of size and execution, and you come back to the next one, it's like, oh, this is an easy game. So definitely, if I could, I'd want the U.S. team first, and then everything from there is going to seem like a
What's the most winnable game, though?
Jordan.
So get the win first.
Got to get that one.
Yep.
And then Greece. Really hedging my bets there, Justin.
No, I do like the fact that you've gone 3-0. That's we're all with you. Round 6, here we go. Let's get stuck into it. GJ Gardner-Holmes, Tauihi. Here's the slate of games. Hoiho have had the wood on the Queen so far. Played them twice, beat them twice. Fai and the Kahu. Fai have had a couple of absolute thrilling but breathtakingly close losses at home in recent weeks. Queen's Pouākai and the Pouākai on the double as well up against the Kahu. You're on the double, and gee, the way the ladder has tightened up, every game is important.
Yeah, man, it's gotten super tight. There's only a few points between all of us teams, so yeah, all these games are going to matter, and Rapid League wins.
Rapid League.
Yeah,
Rapid League.
The Fai, last 2 times at home, they've gone down by 2 and 1. Are they due?
We saw they were due. We saw the way they played against the Hoiho and a full-strength Hoiho squad that they really absolutely dominated for about half of that game. Really impressive the way they're coming together defensively, I think especially. They've got an opportunity to be, I think, the best defensive team in the league with the way they go out, they pressure, and coming back to your home court, that's where you want to build a cauldron. That's where they're going to look to really lift that pressure.
They shot the lights out in Queenstown against the Hoiho, and they did a really good job on Ashton Preckdell. Michaela Cowling was really good. All over the floor, not just guarding her, but just getting everybody involved.
What I was really impressed by in that Phi defensive team was McKenna Dale.
Yeah.
And her matchup against Ashton Preckdell was so impressive. I think she ended up with 15 points, all from deep, whatever it was.
And numerous bruises.
But what she did defensively, giving up that size, giving up, in all honesty, a bit of talent, what was really impressive what she did and was able to contain her to 26 and 20, but still.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
First game coming up for round 6, it is the Hoiho against the Queens. Queens back in a little bit of form, but they take on a team that's beaten them twice. Some injury concerns around Elise Hurst. What is it that the Hoiho have had over the Queens so far?
Honestly, I think the Queens were missing their leaders like Stella. I think having her back in the mix has taken them to the next level and kind of keeps them together and a bit more grounded. So, yeah, I think she's going to be the main difference for me going into this next matchup.
Starting to tighten up, isn't it? Round 6, get out there and support your teams. Another slate of big games. Some questions for you. We're at that time of the season where these questions start to matter. Best defensive player that we've seen so far this season?
I'm going to go with Preckdell, leading the league in rebounding right now, leading the league in blocks or close to it, and up there in steals as well. She has an immense effect on that side of the court at all times. Anyone
think otherwise?
Oh, look, I'm trying to think, and she just changes everything that players do around that keyway, right?
Yeah. I've been saying it, massive force. I've already been blocked by her a few times, and yeah, she's just scary to go up against. So yeah, I'd agree.
There's a perimeter player that's not too far.
I was going to say, there's someone sitting here that's right up there as well.
I like Crystal Ledger-Walker's defense.
Well, I mean, honestly, what you do, Crystal, you're almost let off the leash out there. You have an ability to go off and play. Reminds me a lot of a former teammate of mine, and Dylan Boucher, where you sort of freelance, find where you can affect things, and the way you're putting pressure on ball handlers out there on the perimeter is causing real challenges for us.
You're just not doing cheap shots like Dill. That's probably the only thing.
I don't know.
Maybe just not seeing them.
I'm not seeing them then. That's good.
I feel like as good as the shooting has lifted, So too is the defence. Defensively, I feel like it's a lot more pressure out there this season.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of different game strategies from teams. I mean, Whai came out against the Queens last round and trapped them and saw how effective that was. So it's cool to see the different defensive styles come out throughout the league.
Miles, really important question because I know this is right in your wheelhouse. Best looking uniform this season in Tauihi.
Oh, I'm going to have to go the Whai. They came out with the Miami Vice looking
The
unis.
white
The
Whai?
white with the accent on the side, that's pretty cool.
Is that the
right up
Rapid
there.
League uniform? Or is it-
Yeah, the Rapid League uniform was nice.
Yeah, no, right up there, Case.
I'm going with Tokomanawa mint.
The mint green?
The mint Tokomanawa.
Seafoam green. It's
Crystal Ledger Walker looks great in any of the BNZ Kahu uniforms as well.
well, we know what you're going to go for.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be completely biased. Our Rapid League uniforms, I think those are pretty cool. The pattern on them.
Oh, yeah.
I actually like the Pouākai Rapid League uniform with the waves through. Anyway,
And the Hoi Ho, the big loser.
best mascot. Any takers yet?
Oh, the best mascot. I like the Hoi Ho. Because it freaks Casey
The
out.
Hoi Ho freaks me out, man. The Hoi Ho freaks me out.
But hands.
He's got these giant flippers, but his hands come out of the costume, or whoever's in the costume.
Do you notice this
come out.
stuff when you're playing?
No,
And
not
it
at
is-
all.
I find it disturbing every time I see it. I'm sure the Hoi Ho, I don't know the name of the mascot's doing a great job, but man, it is a struggle for me to watch that Hoi Ho.
I tell you, the mascot that I love, and last season was the same, and I'm a little bit biased. Queens.
Queenie?
Yeah, down to the Queens, just fantastic. Puts on a great.
Oh, great energy, yeah.
I had to take a game off with a sprained ankle.
Oh,
Yes, you're 100% right.
Wow.
There you go, round 6. Really looking forward to it, and wins are so important right now. The ladder is congested, and of course, we're heading towards the final 4 in Porirua. Grab your tickets, September 9 and 10. Enjoy the games coming up. Tauihi Rapid League, and we'll be back again next week on Sal's Hoophead. See you then.